Hello, I'm Ruth Medd, the Executive Chair of Women on Boards, and this is a session about government boards, which follows on from the very successful workshop that we ran last week, Claire and myself, which was government boards and the ins and outs of them. As part of that session, I ran through some examples of government boards, and we thought this might be a useful addition to the regular series I do on what's on the WOB Jobs Board. Government boards come in many shapes and sizes, so I've got 7 examples of government boards that are all in different types of categories. The aim of these 7 is to show the incredible diversity that's on offer for government boards. So let's get started. My first example is something that's to do with public administration. There are lots of entities that do basically public administration tasks, but in a sense, independent from a government department. So we have the Gambling and Lotteries Licence Review Panel in Victoria. Now this closes on the 30th of August, so by the time you hear this, it's probably gone by. But the relevance is it's an example of the type of entities that you're likely to come across on the WOB Jobs Board. They're looking for people with skills in public administration because after all, it's a license review and also procurement. So that's the first of my examples. The second one is another related to gambling. And this shows you that there's often a suite of boards, tribunals, reviews that go to a particular topic of public interest. So this is ID 23145, the Victorian Responsible Gambling Foundation. Now this closes on the 1st of September, and they're looking for finance, governance, law, research and development and strategy. And they, as the name suggests, do research into how to solve problem gambling or how to encourage responsible gambling. Very interesting if you're interested in that sector. I was at some time on the New South Wales Casino Control Authority, which was a statutory body, and that has an adjunct had a trust that handed out money for or managed money for research and development. So that's my 2 related entities, and the topic happens to be gambling. So next up is a typical advisory committee that boards set up. Sometimes it's not entirely clear what they're doing from the title, and this is true here. We've got ID 23061, Future Trends Advisory Committee in Victoria. Now, this is the sort of committee that meets, perhaps 4-6 times a year only, provides advice to the minister, and their topic actually is about energy, future trends in energy. So they're looking for people with quite specific skills regarding energy and resources, regulation, utilities, innovation, and business transformation. So that should suit quite a number of WOB members, but you do need to know something about energy. Next up, from West Australia, I've got ID 23104, Western Australian State Design Review Panel. Review panels are quite prevalent throughout the jurisdictions in Australia. This one's in West Australia, closes on the 13th of September, and they're looking for stakeholder engagement, governance, architecture and design, and town planning. So these are bodies that review proposals for developments, and they're established at arm's length from government to give an independent view of proposals that come to government. So there's a whole lot in that area, and that's the one from Western Australia. Now, my next example is the Queensland Government Hospital and Health Boards. Every state in Australia runs hospitals, and they have boards, generally speaking. And this is the ID 23095. They've got 20 vacancies, and as is common in particular in New South Wales and Victoria, there tends to be an annual omnibus advertisement for directors of health boards. On this occasion, they're looking for a very broad range of skills, and there are 20 vacancies. So you need to inquire as regards each particular vacancy, what skills they're looking for. But the types of things they're looking for are business operations, knowledge of health, believe it or not, safety and environmental issues, finance, risk management, digital technology. So it's something for everybody. That's run by Directors Australia, a very regular poster of vacancies on the WOB jobs board. And there's a very comprehensive website that you get sent to when you look at the vacancy, and it gives you lots more detail. So that's a very comprehensive professional recruitment exercise by the Queensland government for its health boards. So that's a sample of the sorts of health boards. So we've had public administration types, we've had advisory types, we've had entities that run things, hospitals in other words. Now, apart from that, let's think about other arms of government, local councils. Now, you might not really think that local councils have got lots of boards. Now, they don't have as many as state governments or the federal government, but they do have increasing numbers. Traditionally, they've had audit and finance committees, but this is broadening out quite considerably to other things. So I've got two examples here. ID 23048, which is the City of Burnside Retirement Village. Now, did you know that a local council runs a retirement village? Well, yes, it does. This closes on the 16th of August, so once again, it'll probably have been closed by the time you read this video. But it's an example of the things that are happening in local government. And they're looking for finance, project management, change management, and leadership. And it sounds to me like they're in the business of building more retirement villages. So that could be interesting to you. And the second one I'm giving you today is ID 22979, which is Newcastle Airport. Now this closes on the 31st of August. And believe it or not, Newcastle Airport is owned by the City of Newcastle and Port Stephens Council. And this is quite typical of regional airports around Australia. So keep a lookout for them. Now, not surprisingly, they're looking for people who know something about transport and logistics, finance, and also defence. So that's two examples of local councils. So the aim of this session is to show you the broad range of government boards that are available to you, and to encourage you to consider putting a government board as one of the items in your portfolio of boards. And so I commend them to you. They all pay. Very occasionally a government board doesn't pay, but generally they pay. Looks great on your CV, and you're giving something back to the community by supporting community initiatives or good public policy, etc. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll be on another session in due course. Good day.